Today I'm going to show you guys how I edit my videos for YouTube. Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to The Blind Life, where I help you learn how to live your best blind life. So over the years, I've had a lot of people ask me how I make videos for YouTube. Well, the main question is, do I do it all myself? And yeah, I do pretty much everything myself. My wife Rachel helps me out with live streams. But as far as making the videos, editing, all of that, recording, I do that all myself, with a little help from my friend called Accessibility. So I've made a video talking about the video production aspect of the process. So recording the videos, setting up the cameras, recording, getting everything lined up. I will link that video in the description down below and the info card on the screen right now. But I've had people ask me about the post-production or the editing. You know, how do I do that? So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to attempt to record my screen and show you guys how I do it. The first thing to note is that I'm using a large 40-inch monitor, 40-inch 4K monitor, and I'm going to be using Windows Magnifier to zoom in. So that's the first trick for me. You know, I need a lot of magnification. But we'll get more into that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and jump onto the computer. All right, so here we are in Davinci Resolve. This is the editing software that I use. I do use the free version. This is not the paid studio version. I'm going to leave this camera running so you guys will get an idea of how close I get to the monitor while I'm editing. So even though this is a big 40-inch monitor, I'm still really close to it so that I can see. And we're going to be zooming in a lot, zooming in and zooming out. Hopefully nobody gets sick. Okay, so here's all my footage that I'm going to be working with. So I'm just going to drag this into our media section here. Okay, we need to find out which clip I need first. So this isn't going to be a tutorial on Davinci Resolve. There are plenty of videos out there for that. This is simply going to be show you guys my workflow. Now I am screen recording, so there may be some lag or the program might be running kind of slow. This is a test just to see how well this is recording. Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Microphone working. Oh, all right, everything was working. All right, let's check out this one. So this was one of my favorite videos. Get our endpoint by clicking I on the keyboard. So this was one of my favorite. And then I'm going to drag it down into the actual timeline. So this was one of my favorite videos I made several years ago, and I thought I would share it with you guys again. First things first, I like to go ahead and get my positioning and composition where I am in the frame. I like to get that done. I come over here and get my grid. Drag that onto my video, and that creates a grid pattern. And then we're going to come over here and click Effect so we can customize this grid. And right now it's set to 12 by 20. We want it, I want it anyway, 3 by 3. So if I hit 3 by there and 3 by here, you see that now we've got rule of thirds grid pattern here. And my framing is frustrating. It is actually. I got it pretty good in camera. Happy about that. I'm dead center, and my eye line is about on this upper line here, all falling in line kind of with the rule of thirds. I'm a little high, but I actually prefer to be a little high on the screen. That's my style. Okay, we're going to turn the grid off because we don't actually want that in the final video. And now we're going to check out our color corrections. We're going to try and color correct this video. So I'm going to come down here and try and find, there it is, color correction. But here we are, our color correction. Let's find a good shot. That's not bad. So the image is actually pretty good. We're going to bring up our scope, which is down here, but I like to have a scope that I can move around, and it's much bigger. We're going to add in, using keyboard shortcuts, we're going to add in some more serial nodes up here. Once again, if you want to know more about how to use Davinci Resolve and all that, you can watch some tutorials. But let's take a look at our scope, and I'm not worried about looking at the picture. I want to look at the scopes here. First thing I like to do is hit the auto over here, and I gotta lean in really close to see where this is. There it is. And this is going to automatically color correct the best it can. There it goes. So it brightened it up, gave it a little bit more color, I think. But you see here, we are just above this bottom line, which is good. And the top, though, is full on touching this top line, which is not good. We want to bring that down some. So I'm going to click onto this node here, and I want to bring up our curves, and I want to move this out of the way. And we're going to grab this top curve section here, and we want to bring it down until that's no longer touching the top, which is, you know, around there. So, and so if we do a before and after here on our picture, this is after, that's before, after, before. So it's just tones down the brightness a little bit, adds a little bit more contrast, which is good. Contrast is king. I like my videos a little contrasty. And that's about all we're going to do for the colors. We're going to add sharpen a little bit, because contrast and sharpening, that's what I do. Where's my thing? There it is. So it's still set to sharpen, which is good. We're going to bring this down a couple notches to sharpen it up a little bit. Sponsor. And that looks good. Okay, let's go back to our edit page. And I'm going to turn off the color correction we just did, just so that everything, you know, it's not bogging down the computer trying to process the color correction. And let's start at the beginning here. So this was one of my favorite videos I made several years ago, and I thought I would share it with you guys again for those that maybe missed it back then. But in this video, I talk. So this is actually not the beginning of this video, this clip. So we're going to drag this out and come back up here and drag it out. There's the beginning. That's what I want. I cut it too far back. One of my older videos. Let's lengthen this out so we can edit, get it fine-tuned. So the key to editing with low vision is to learn the keyboard shortcuts. All my controls are up here that I would need to edit most of the controls, but I don't want to have to find the small icon, click on it, come back down, go back up, struggle to find it, click on it, come back down. I'd much rather learn the keyboard shortcuts and do it all with the keyboard here, and just focus on looking at the waveform. This is how I edit my videos. I watch the waveform. I'm not looking at the video up here. We got the video looking good and positioned and everything, so I don't need to look at this up here. I just edit by the waveform. So learn the keyboard shortcuts. Some programs like Davinci Resolve here, most programs will let you edit keyboard shortcuts and create your own. So if there's a keyboard shortcut that doesn't work for you, or maybe it's a hard stretch with your hands or something, I don't know, you can create your own keyboard shortcuts, which is awesome. Today we're going to take a look back at one of my older videos where I talk about the frustrations of trying to plug things in. So that's where I want to stop it. I made a cut. I want to come up here. Hey guys, it's Sam with the... And this is where I want to start my next... This is where I want to start my next thing. So I just need to delete this section. Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn how to live your best blind life. And that's where we're going to start the next one. But for now, we need to put in our logo, our little intro, which is over here. In my intros, where are you? There you are. I've got all my media saved in here to make it easy to reach. And here's the one I want. I'm going to drag that down and drop it in right here. Slide it over. Come on. Oh, it's being so slow because of the screen recording. So now we're going to get rid of this volume. We don't need that. Frustrations of trying to plug things in. So we've got this one we will bring back over. Stretch it out a little bit so we've got some room to work. So this one, I need to make this title bigger. So I'm going to hit the transform tool here and I'm going to drag this out until it's about as big as I like to make it. There we go. Hit the transform tool again. And we need to put in our transitions. I like to use this little zoom in transition so that my logo zooms in. And we've already got it saved over here. Logo zoom. So we just drag and we set that right there. Let's make this a little taller. And now, because it's the same transition at the beginning and the end of this section, I can grab and, not that, Control Z. Not what I meant to do. Let's make it a little bigger. There we go. So I can grab it, hold down the Alt and drag it over, drop it in right there. It'll be the same transition. I'm going to save this just in case because sometimes this program crashes on me. Best blind life. Cut it right there. Come to the next section and we will cut it back to there. Blind life. So this was one of my favorite videos I made several years ago and I thought I would share it with you guys again for those that maybe missed it back then. Okay, so you see I tend to do these gaps where I'm kind of composing myself, thinking about what I want to say. And so I generally cut those out. Later on, I will come back and put in a smooth transition that just kind of blends the cut so it's not such a hard cut. You missed it back then. But in this video, I talked. And that was a little bit of a long pause. So we're going to pull this back just a little bit to kind of shorten up that break in between those two sentences. That maybe missed it back then. But in this video, I talk about how frustrating it is for us to try and plug things in. And I messed up a word there. So we're coming back here. And we will start that. In that video, I talk about how sometimes it's super frustrating for us to try and plug things in. Whether that's electrical outlet. See, so we're going to cut all these things out. Here I can just make a cut and then drag it over to bring those two together. I might do the same here. Plug things in. That's a little bit long. There we go. Let's go back. There was another thing back here maybe. Missed it back then. In that video I talk about how sometimes let's go ahead and cut that one too.
drag it over a little bit, just to helps the flow of what I'm saying.
Video, I talk about how sometimes it's super frustrating for us to try and plug
bring this section together.
Plug things in, whether that's electrical outlets, keys in a door, or even computer equipment.
And yeah, I
sometimes
I wasn't crazy about that, so I re-recorded it.
Sometimes it's just a nightmare to try and do that.
So let's bring this part over.
Equipment. Sometimes it's just a nightmare to try and do that.
Okay. So I'm doing this both by voice or by audio and visual. I'm editing everything by this audio wave here.
Try and do that. So in this video, I take a little bit of a humorous look at that topic, and I even give a suggestion or a possible solution at the end of the video.
Cut that out where I had to clear my throat. And I start over again. I should just pull this up. Let's pull this up so I don't have to reach up so far. There we go.
But before we
make a cut there.
Into the video. But before we jump into the video, we need to thank today's sponsor, Watch.
And that is where we end it, I believe. Let's zoom out, and then let's zoom out completely. Yes, that is where we end it. So we're going to delete this last section. And so that is it for this first section. So now what I'm going to do is I want to add in that transition in between all the cuts to make it a little bit easier. And I don't want to add it here because I have a transition there. So I'm just going to highlight all these sections. And then I've got that set to a keyboard shortcut as well. There we go. Doesn't look like anything happened, but I added in that transition. In fact, if we go here and we zoom in, you see now we have a transition there. And so let's see if it'll play it smoothly. Then
in that video, I talk about how sometimes it's super frustrating for us to try and plug things in, whether that's
yeah, you know, that might not be the style some people like, but I'd like it. So that is it for this section. Next, we need to add in our music. So I'm going to come over here to this music folder. This is all the music I use in my videos. I'm going to drag down my intro music here. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to zoom in so that we can line everything up. And once again, just following the waveform. I can see the beats on this music here. Beat, 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 beat. And I know that the first beat needs to fall on this transition where I zoom in. And it actually is a little bit behind. So let's see how that looks. Oh, I don't have my transition turned on. Let's turn it on. Okay.
Things in.
So this transition, that looks good. The transition didn't go because it's not rendered in the cache. But let's turn this down because it's a little loud. And about here is where I start to fade it out. So I'm going to set a keyframe. Audio keyframe.
Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn.
And
learn how to live your best blind life. So
about here is where I like to taper it out completely. So I take it down to about, it's -35. Around that. Let's see here, what, 32.
So this was one of my favorite videos.
So now let's listen to that. Come in and fade out.
Of trying to plug things in. Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn how to live your best blind life. So this was...
All right, that's good. So the transitions are turned off. That's why it got black there for a second. Okay, let's add in our text. my little intro text, which I have as well, already pre-done and saved. Just makes life easier to do that, and actually needs to go way back here. Come on, there you go. So my text.
Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn how to live your best blind life.
And I usually extend it to that point. Let's see where it starts. So I need to stretch it out.
Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn how to live your best blind life. So this was one of my favorite videos I made several years ago, and I thought I would share it with you guys again for those.
Okay, now last thing is to add in our little sound effects. So when our transition goes here to zoom in and zoom out, I like to add in a little sound effect. So here's a bunch of different sound effects. We're just going to listen to see what they sound like, choose the one we like the best. I don't really have one saved specifically for this. Just going to double click it here, and it's going to bring it up here so we can preview. That's actually not bad. Let's just go with that one. I'm going to drag it down. And put it below. Get this out of the way here. Okay, so it needs to go as this transition's going, but so luckily I can just once again use the sound wave. I know it needs to be slightly behind the actual transition for it to look natural. And I need to put another one on this one, so I can just use the same one. I can just grab it, hold down Alt and drag it, and that makes a copy of it. And then I can drop it where I want it, slightly behind this transition. But that is it, guys. That is basically how I edit. Now we're going to go ahead and render this out. Click onto the render page, and we've got our little section of video here. Let's make it larger so we can see. Set the playhead back to the beginning, and it's showing that this white bar indicates what section will be rendered, and it's going all the way to the end, which is good. Our audio is all on there. Everything looks good. Now, this one has presets. Davinci does, so I'm going to choose YouTube because that's what I am doing it to. And this is the, we're going to call this .intro. Because that's basically what it is. We're going to choose a spot to save this on the desktop here. And save. And then all of our other settings are good. It is 29.97 frames per second. QuickTime, H.264 is good. Blah, 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 blah. That's all good. We're going to click that, which puts it over here in the render queue. And then we need to click render, and we should see it start to render.
Okay guys, so that is how I edit my videos. Obviously this was just a small little chunk of a video. It does get much more complicated, especially when I'm throwing in multiple cameras and B-roll and all of that, different sound effects. But at least this gives you a basic idea of how I do it. Zoomed in, very close, and editing by the waveform. That's just what I found works the best for me. It takes forever because I'm super slow. Well, I'm not slow, but having to zoom in and out all the time and move your entire screen around to find what you're looking for, it just takes a long time. So some videos, a 10-minute video could take several hours over the course of a couple days to edit. Okay guys, well thank you very much. I hope that answers the question on how I edit my videos. If you guys have any other questions for me, please let me know in the comments down below. You can send me an email, sam@theblindlife.net. Check out my website, theblindlife.net. You can also send me a message through that. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it, share it on social media, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll always be alerted every time I put out a new video. As always, guys, this is Sam with The Blind Life. I'll see you next time.